Hello. Hello to French graduates and hello to Lee. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of the 50th anniversary celebration that you're having in Paris. And I want to welcome you to my home in Round Rock, Texas. We're next door to Austin, Texas. The celebration of the Silva method, our 50 years, is very special to me because I was in the first class. So I'm celebrating 50 years with the Silva method. Lee has asked me to share with you the circumstances that were part of how the Silva method was started. It became a movement that influenced psychology and the arts and people learning how to use their mind for better health, for success, for getting rid of shyness and getting rid of allergies. I just named two of mine, allergies and shyness. When I took the Silva method, I was so shy that there was no way you'd get me in front of a group of adults to speak about anything. Teaching art to children, that was a different thing in my head. But with the Silva method, I have used the techniques, and I'm happy to share with people, with adults. So I'm happy to share the beginning of the class, as I said. We heard about a man from Laredo, Texas, named Hozea Silve, from a Dr. N.E. West. Dr. West was a Baptist minister, dean of psychology at the Wayland Baptist College, which is about 100 miles from Amarillo. And Dr. West had been a speaker at our art groups, and to talk to us about dreams. We had become interested in dreams from a book written about Dr. Carl Jung, who wrote, the book is Dreams and Reflections. And in the book, Dr. Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, talk about the importance of the inner conscious level for creativity. And creativity was something that our art professor was extremely interested in. In every art class, I can remember that he would say, kids, claim your creative heritage. Every human being has inherited creativity. It's just a matter of claiming it. So he was open to anybody who had another technique or idea about how to get in touch with that level. Dr. West said to Dortfest, the art professor, I've met a man I think that your group would like to hear. He has learned that he can help people develop control of their mind, and they can learn better memory, stress control, and to get in touch with creativity. Well, those were magic words to us, so we wanted to hear from the man from Laredo, Hozea Silve. Dr. West said he's coming to Plainview on October 1st to give a talk to us. Would you like for him to come up to Amarillo? And we said, yes, we would. So the schedule was set on October 1st. Hozea Silve would arrive in Amarillo, and that evening we would meet and hear about his research and what he was doing. I was very lucky me, I was asked by Nelda Šits to meet Mr. Silva at the go to the bus station and pick him up. See, Nelda Šits was teaching a class out of Amarillo, and he wouldn't be back in until just before the meeting that evening. So I asked two of my friends to come with me. I lived in Spearman, Texas, which was 100 miles from Amarillo, so we drove into Amarillo for all these meetings. So that day, that morning, we were at the bus, 10 o'clock, when Hozea Silve arrived, and took him to lunch, and then we took him to Doyd's apartment for rest or just a conversation or visit with us, according to what he wanted. He wanted to visit, and we did too. So that afternoon, he told us many stories about the success of people getting rid of allergies, getting rid of shyness, getting rid of hang-ups, and psychosomatic problems of all kinds. That evening, when he was talking to the group was called the Area Arts Foundation. There were almost 200 people there that evening. Most of us were art students of Nelda Šits, but we had some spouses and some other people in Amarillo who were interested in our art group. When Hozea Silve started talking to the group, he talked about the success that he was having with people with the kinds of problems that I had: allergies, shyness, needing a better memory, and I was also interested in creativity. I really wanted to develop it that would help me be a better artist. So when we had the first break, I made a beeline to Mr. Silva, and I said to him, my friends and I said, 5 of us would love to come to Laredo and have classes from you. Just as soon as I said that, Nelda Šits, standing behind me, said, what a good idea, Mr. Silva. I want all my art students to have this opportunity. It makes more sense for you to travel to Amarillo. To travel to Amarillo than for a few people to go to Laredo. How many would you need? Well, Mr. Silva explained. Well, the first session would be 4 hours, and he would need to come 15 times to include all the information that he had. It's 675 miles from Laredo to Amarillo, and he would need to come on the bus. He would need 50 people to pay expenses, etc. And 72 of us signed up. So 2 weeks later, October 15th, we started our first class. That class that you're celebrating, and I'm celebrating with you. Mentally, I'm there with you. We were, the people that were in that first class were so enthusiastic with what we were learning that we begged Mr. Silva to start another one the following week. We would have our 4 hours on Friday. On Saturday morning, could he start another class for our relatives? I wanted my 2 teenage kids to have the opportunity, 16-year-old son and 14-year-old daughter. And it was the same with everybody in the class. They wanted their spouses, their friends, the people they knew to have this opportunity. And so we had another class for him on Saturday morning the following week. And then the next week we had another class for him because all those people had friends and relatives and neighbors and people they wanted to have the opportunity. So Mr. Silva was teaching Friday evening to our first class, 101A, and then on Saturday he was teaching his morning class, Saturday afternoon another class. Eventually, I organized classes for him in Spearman, Texas. Spearman population 2,000 people, the center of farm and ranch. But we had 84 people in Spearman. And so Jose decided to make Spearman his headquarters for instructor training. And so we had meetings in my house. Well, no way was I going to become a instructor because that meant public speaking to adults. And I was too shy for that still. I hadn't thought about using the Silva method to get over that. And I was teaching art to children, totally satisfied to teach children. We had our classes in Spearman in the Methodist Church, and since I had organized the class, I was the hostess, Mr. Silva said, so it was up to me to introduce him. Well, I didn't want to turn Mr. Silva down, and I wanted to do what was polite. So I gathered up some courage and went up front to introduce him. And Mr. Silva became so positive about what I could do if I just get over that and start using the techniques, the technique of imagining myself enjoying it and able to remember what I wanted to say. So I started practicing, and I have taught in 20-something nations, including some islands in with that. But I've gone around the world to teach it. I've taught at conventions, and I love to share the Silva method with people. So I celebrate the 50th anniversary with the joy of having a richer life because of the Silva method. And I celebrate the opportunities I've had to meet people around the world. When I was a kid, my mother, who had been a school teacher, when I was 4 years old, she taught me to imagine or play like I was on a ship, a clipper ship, one of the, like a painting we had on the wall, and I was going to countries, and she taught me that in every country I had cousins, that everybody around the world was my cousin, and so that I grew up with that feeling, and then when I started teaching people around the world, I realized people are my cousins, and people have the same situations to work on. So I've had the joy of meeting people and working. So I celebrate the 50th anniversary with you, and Lee, thank you so much for what you're doing in France, what you've done for several years now, and you truly have made the world a better and better place.